Of course, we are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, and of course on Facebook, and as well as myjoyonline.com. My name is Alton Brobe, and this is the pulse. You can join us with your comments, and I'll share it with the rest of the world. Now, the battle lines have been drawn in the Akwatia parliamentary by-election as the NPP backs constituency treasurer Solomon Sumedu, whilst the NDC have three individuals who have so far picked their forms to contest in the yet-to-be-announced parliamentary primaries for the governing National Democratic Congress. Now, following the passing of the Member of Parliament, Ernest Yakume, the New Patriotic Party, they've decided they will not hold any parliamentary primaries. Instead, the party has decided to do an acclamation, and they've thrown their support behind businessman Solomon Sumedu as their preferred candidate for the by-election expected to take place in the month of August. The regional chairman of the party, Jeffrey Kunadu, during a news conference in Parliament, announced the decision of the party, and he did so in the company of the former Member of Parliament for the area, Mercy Amase, who also endorsed the decision of the party.
Our council of the party set up a committee, and we were tasked to find out who could be our candidate or whether we will do primaries or not. So the team went to Akwatia in the constituency, had engagement, a lot of engagement with the grassroots, electoral area coordinators, polling station officers, chiefs, opinion leaders, and majority of the people said that for primaries, we should take it out. We shouldn't conduct primaries in Akwatia. And that's exactly what we followed. And then now comes to how we will get a suitable candidate. We commissioned a search, we commissioned a research. People went into the constituency and gave them all the names that had expressed interest. In this case, Honorable Amase, Lawyer Uredu, Kwabena Asumedu, Daniel Nyame, Osei Apia. And we gave them these names to go into the constituency, in the villages, in the towns, to throw out these names, to come back and report to us who the suitable person could be. And to cut a long story short, when it came, the party saw that they've settled on Kwabena Asumedu, Solomon. And so we reported back to council, and council also gave us the go-ahead to engage further and to follow the due process to do a popular acclamation for Kwabena Asumedu in the constituency. Today marks the official announcement of Kwabena Asumedu as our candidate for the Akwatia constituency by elections.
Well, so that is the position of the NPP, and so they decided that they will not hold parliamentary primaries. They've done the popular acclamation. Even in this case, the party decided to announce the choice of their candidate for the upcoming parliamentary primaries in Parliament. And as you heard, this was done together with the former Member of Parliament for the area, Amase. Now, the NDC, they've opened nominations. Three individuals have so far submitted their names to contest the vacant position because of the death of the former NPP Member of Parliament for the area. And we'll speak to them shortly. But also happening in town this afternoon, somebody who's put his neck forward to contest the upcoming presidential race of the NPP. And they have until August 28th to do so. Now, Kwabena Agyepong, this afternoon, some few hours ago, submit her credentials and announced his intention to contest the upcoming race. And so nominations have been opened. The vetting of candidates is scheduled to take place from September 15 to 22nd, after which the vetting committee will present its findings and recommendations to the party's National Council on September 29. This is how the General Secretary of the party announced it at a news conference.
Article 13 of the New Patriotic Party's constitution. I'm happy to announce to you that we have officially opened nominations for our party members who aspire to become presidential candidates of our party for the 2028 elections. However, there are some guidelines that I need to bring to your attention. First and foremost, the presidential primaries shall be held on Saturday, January 31, 2026. And as I've indicated, nomination is open today, July 29, 2025, and shall close on Thursday, August 28, 2025.
And so this is the program for the NPP for the upcoming presidential race. Remember that under some reforms that the party undertook, the race will take place in January, and it will take place ahead of the election of constituency, regional executives, and parliamentary candidates for the 2028 election. Now, talking about flag bearership race, former General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Kwabena Agyepong, today, officially, in fact, some few hours ago, declared his intention to contest the party's 2026 presidential primaries. His announcement came just hours after the NPP opened nominations on Tuesday, July 29, to begin the search for a new flag bearer ahead of the 2028 general elections. Now, at a brief declaration event, Kwabena Agyepong presented himself as the unifying force the party needs, insisting he offers the party its best chance of victory in 2028. He pledged to restore unity and integrity within the party and made a strong appeal to delegates to reject inducement and resist what he describes as the NDC front, three contenders, three on the part of the NDC, and that is for the Akwatia Parliamentary By-Election. We will deal with that particular matter. I also got an exclusive interview with Kwabena Agyepong coming your way pretty shortly. But let me bring in Haruna Mohammed, and Haruna Mohammed is a Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Haruna, good afternoon, and a pleasure to speak to you on the pulse.
Good afternoon.
So the party today announced, raft of measures ahead of the presidential race. And first, what went into purging the forms at 100,000, the nomination forms, and then the filing fee at 500,000 Ghana cedis?
Thank you very much. I would say good afternoon to your cherished viewers and the leadership of the New Patriotic Party. If you recall, in the last presidential primaries in 2023, this is pretty not just much difference from that. And even if you check when the NDC was in opposition, this has not been much difference from what has happened. They paid 500,000. Today, we are still charging 500,000 for the filing fee. This decision was arrived at the National Council of our party, as embodied in Article 13, 1 of the party's constitution, giving the power to the National Council to determine and the constitutional body on which the presidential primaries stays on to take such decisions. So this was deliberated on, and many other factors were taken into consideration for us to come up with the nomination forms at 100,000 CDs and 500,000 CDs for the filing of nominations.
And is there a process for refund, that is if a candidate is unable to reach a certain threshold, or once you pay the money, that's it?
Constitutionally, I will say no, because there is no such process in the NPP's constitution. It is only in the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana where, by the guidelines of the Electoral Commission, parties that are able to obtain some percentage in the elections are refunded some money pertaining to the filing fees that have been done. But constitutionally in the NPP, I have not cited any And I don't see any of them being on the guidelines of the party in terms of the conduct of these elections.
And officially, as we speak today at this very hour, as far as the party is concerned, they don't know anybody who is a flag bearer.
In fact, we don't have a flag bearer. Constitutionally, we don't have a flag bearer. We can only count for former flag bearers. And there's only one flag bearer, which is Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia.
And therefore, it bears the question whether the party is happy with the conduct of individuals who've expressed interest in contesting the flag bearership position of the party.
That is why the party, the General Secretary has indicated that the party will be issuing the guidelines this particular conduct of this particular elections. The forms will also contain most of the guidelines as to how each and every member should conduct himself. The party at many instances have lamented on the conduct of many members regarding the competition or the contest. We have the cost right and also statement to stop people from making certain comments that has the tendency of affecting the peace of the party. So it's not all that good in terms of the comment. You know that the new Patriotic Party will certainly triumph over this particular matter. People will listen to us. We have met many of the people who had the intention to contest for this particular position who has officially been opened today. We've had several interactions. The National Council of Elders have met many of them in several instances to give advice and to give direction in relation to that. And I think that certainly this is something that they will abide by.
Your colleague, General Secretary on the other side, Mustafa Gbande, is also joining us via Zoom. Mustafa, good afternoon and good to see you. Right, we'll get Mustafa Gbande to unmute for us so we can hear him. Right, so Mustafa, if you can hear me, good afternoon and always good to see you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Right, so we'll talk about two issues. I mean, first, I don't know whether you've got any comments to make on the NPP. Some say they are peaking ahead of the 2028 election, putting their house in order for a contest in 2028. So in January, they're going ahead to elect their flag bearer for the next election. Today, they've announced the filing fees and then issue some warnings to those who aspire to lead the party. Any comments on that before I bring you onto the matter of Akwatia?
We in the NDC have always wished them well. We want the NPP to strengthen themselves so that we can up the game of deepening our democratic credentials. The only unfortunate thing is that they kept disappointing themselves because it's the same group of people. Credibility deficient, no focus. They owe to the people of Ghana the deficit of their governance. They owe to the people of Ghana an apology. They owe to their own party an apology. They have not taken responsibility to do that. And I believe that they have jumped the gun. All that they are doing is to excuse responsibility that good leadership would have provided. In the right context of political party organization, what the NPP should be doing now is to be apologizing to the people of Ghana for failure, apologizing to the rank and file of their party for deliberate, leaving them to their fate, and also taking responsibility and energizing the base to come along. But because they know that they have treated their own party so badly that they left them hungry, rejected for 8 years, they cannot afford to share themselves and go around the country to apologize to their own party. So they must start from the top. Then number two, one would have thought that all of the people who are running for possible flag bearer race of the NPP were part of the previous government. They will actually take responsibility and apologize, at least apologize to the people of Ghana for the atrocities, the mismanagement, the corruption, and the scandals they have perpetuated in the last 8 years. Again, incorrigibly, they haven't done any of that. They are proceeding to organize the party from the top. It's a novelty, but we'll live to see how that plays out. We wish them well, in their internal process that is a novelty and a strange style of leadership by a group of young leaders who are running away from responsibility in a party. We are wishing them well.
But Haruna, the General Secretary also warned that those who are aspiring to lead a party should not campaign, at least until after the Akwatia parliamentary by-election. Why?
The National Council to put much focus on the Akwatia by-election. We have an election to win, and that election currently is the Akwatia by-election. We need the forces, everybody, to focus on Akwatia, and the party thinks that the best direction is to move all this energy to Akwatia, and thereafter, then they can turn their energies to the campaign for their respective positions that they are coming out to contest for in terms of the flag bearership race. But then I've listened to my brother talking about the NPP should have been going around and apologizing. Unfortunately, I don't know where he's situating this apology. We have lost elections. The people have decided not to vote for us. They voted for you because you campaign on certain message to the people. If there is any apology at all, the NDC should have been doing that. You deceived the good people of Ghana and your party people that when you come to power, you will be having a 24-hour economy. You will be having one job, 3 people doing the job. You came to power, you have to sack people from the NPP. And the only thing you could do is that people who have converted to the NDC in a week or 2 to the elections have been given presidential staffers, leaving people who have toiled and died for this party, the NDC. You have promised the good people of Bawku that there will not be crisis in Bawku when you win. There will be peace. Over 300 people have died. These are lives that we have lost. And you are not apologizing for your hypocrisy. You are not apologizing for comments that His Excellency the President, with all sincerity and apology, the President goofed on the statements that he made with regards to Bawku. You are not apologizing. 300 lives over.
But he says that...
If you are a parent, please, I'm very emotional about this. If you are a parent and you sit, then you carry your child in a rubber bag just because your child has been murdered for getting admission into a secondary school. This has never happened in this country. You don't see it as important. You are talking about matters, tangential matters, that does not reflect productivity in Ghana. My brother, please. But you have been given the power to govern.
Haruna, if I can just come in brief, I think his apology for him, the 8-year administration of the Akufo-Addo government, he says perhaps you didn't do well, and the reason why you should apologize. You think that apology is worth asking?
8 years of Akufo-Addo's government, check the number of road infrastructure that we have done. Go and check the number of people that we have given employment. Check the security service. Check the civil service. Check all the sectors of the economy. Ask yourself, how much reserves did we leave for them? Over 8-point-something billion that we left. What was the cover? Over 4 months of cover. What was the rate of GDP that we left for them? You ask yourself, you go around, the number of schools that infrastructure we have put through. You ask yourself, the number of health infrastructure that we have put through, and the development projects that span across, the free senior high school policy, all the important matters that we have been able to implement, and giving people the life, bridging the gap of poverty between the rich and the poor, and getting all these things done, then we should apologize for doing good to the people of Ghana. The peaceful Ghana we handed to them, and the state of Ghana today, we should be apologizing for handing over a peaceful Ghana to them. Please, let's check our records. The mortality rate of NPP's record in government is far advanced, just as when you compare to the NDC. You're talking about how we have disrespected our people. Your own founder, you insulted him, attacked him till his death. Today, you have never participated in the celebration of Professor Mills' listing before. But today, because you are in government, you are all there laughing and sharing teeth, which is not real, just because you want to share in the glory of that.
Let me bring you to...
have toiled for that man. So please, sincerity must lead. We should not just see the need, you get the microphone, you want to talk, and then let the people to know you are in power, and then you parade so many words. Please, let us be very sensitive
I will allow Mustafa some reaction, but let me bring you to Akwatia before I bring Mustafa in. Why did the party decide not to open the process for people to file nomination, contest the parliamentary primaries, and now decided that you settle on your treasurer?
It is not about why we did not. In our constitution, when you read Article 12 of our party's constitution, a selection of parliamentary candidates. It is selection. So the party put to light a committee to go and start the route of doing selection. All the interested parties agreed that the road to becoming the candidate for Akwatia should not go through by election. They should have a consensus. And all of them came together to agree that the treasurer of the party, which is Mr. Solomon Asumadu, to be the sole candidate for Akwatia. And per the constitution of our party, we were doing an acclamation somewhere by 31st of July to acclaim him as the candidate. So it is not something that is not lawful. This is a lawful procedure within the party structure, which can best be situated in Article 12 of our party's constitution, which is selection of parliamentary candidates.
Yes, it is true. But in recent past, you've always opened the process for people to willingly express interest and contest. But this time, you decided that you will set up a committee
in this particular case, we have not opened nominations. The stakeholders all agree that we vote by selection. We have that in other places. If you reverse your mind back to the current second deputy speaker of parliament, we did not open nominations.
But that is a case that can be open to a lot of interpretations.
Come again?
I'm saying that the Kwabena example can be open to a lot of interpretations. The reason why the party decided to take that route.
That is your opinion. And that is why opinions are not rejected, because they are not cast in stone. So I am telling you, and I'm the Deputy General Secretary of the party. I'm coming from the party secretariat, and I'm telling you that this is one of the examples of not opening nominations and going through selection procedure as is saying in the party's constitution, Article 12, which is selection of parliamentary candidates.
Mustafa, for the NDC, you've opened the process. We understand that 3 individuals, they fake nomination forms. Why didn't you also, go through what the NPP adopted as it is in line with the party's constitution?
I've heard him lament. One question I have thrown at you. You have jumped around irresponsibly, and you are leading us to Bawku conflict. I will maturely disallow any comment or conversation into the Bawku conflict, praying that as government is upping up its game to confront the crisis, we'll be able to restore peace, security, and order to the various divides of the Bawku conflict. Now, I am quite throwing something to my brother, why Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is so unconcerned that his backyard, he will not rather engage his brother, who is the president today, to ensure that we are able to de-escalate the unfortunate development in the Bawku conflict. Having said so, we believe that opening up a process gives an opportunity for a candidate that is much loved by majority to emerge. And when that happens, you will get the best candidate. The only process that gives each and every contestant an equal participation is to allow them to contest so that the best or the most favored will emerge for others to be able to support. The NPP is scared because they have devastation in terms of factions in Akwatia. They also know that as it stands, to frame a candidate that best fits to the credibility and integrity of our demised young member of parliament, Ernest Yaokumi, they cannot get. And so they can only go and sit in the room to change this out, because Kennedy will have an interest as to who become the parliamentary candidate in Akwatia. Dr. Bawumia will have an interest as to who become a parliamentary candidate in Akwatia. Dr. Kwabena Agyepong will have an interest. The party is disintegrated. The executives are not in charge. So they are afraid of that devastation. That is why they have, purposely gone into the room to throw out a candidate who is not fit for purpose into the eyes. Compare the candidate they have selected to the pedigree of Ernest Yaokumi. That this young man was loved, cherished, with his humility, impeccable record of academy, very educated and learned. He had just finished his law school. We in the NDC will ensure that we get a befitting candidate of that status and that stature, one that can be bought by the people, one that can represent the people in good faith, one that can influence development within the area, as Nanado has failed to develop the place. Look, Akwatia to Nanado's hometown is just 45 minutes. Nanado has been a president for 8 years. The kind of development he sent to Chebi, 1% cannot be seen in Akwatia. And so all of these odds are against the NPP. We will not join them to go and turn people's hands and select a candidate, apart from ensuring that a democratic process is open. Let each and everyone fairly contest. Through the election, we'll get a candidate that best fits. Now, what they are doing is to call the other candidates they've deprived the opportunity to contest and threatening them to come into compliance with what national leadership have done. This is shameful. This is lazy politics. This is a party that says they are elites, but yet they don't respect democratic internal processes of election. We are not the same. Look, we have quality leadership. We believe in that allowing an internal democratic process will be the only way to strengthen an institution and get the best candidate out of them. So
Mustafa, what is the game plan here? Knowing very well that in the 2024 elections, the thinking of the NDC is that you won, and the reason why your candidate went to court to challenge the outcome of the Akwatia. What is the game plan? Is it to make an impact or to take the seat? That
the determinant of the 2024 election are quite more different from what is happening now. This is a by-election, particularly when there is unfortunate death of one young man, whether he won legitimately or he didn't win legitimately. There is a need for us to prepare a legacy for him. He is a young man. He's been in the political process. There's a need to ensure that the vacuum is not missed. There's a replacement of that standard, and also ensuring that the party is able to put out a best candidate that will be more respected, that will be more loved and admired by the people of Akwatia. Also, we believe that because Akwatia is an ancient town, an old village, a place where we have multifaceted tribal settlements, we should be able to get a candidate that can bring all of these people together for a common ground of development. And so for us in the NDC, we take a lot of things into consideration. All we want to do now is to ensure that first, we get a candidate that will emerge out of the expected or the standard of electing candidates for every election, where you go through your internal process and then a winner emerges. Once that is done, we will not have the difficulty of reconciling our party. But rather, if you contest and you have lost and there's no any foul play, you come fully on board to support the candidate that have won.
Okay.
The situation in the NPP is not the same. The NPP is scared of election because they do not have the gravitas. They do not have the atmosphere of a strong party to be able to open up for a contest to happen. Okay. That is why they are doing all this lazy approach to politics. We will activate every sophistry that is required to ensure that we win the election, given the factors that are prevalent in Akwatia. We will also ensure that violence will not be part of our strategy going into the Akwatia election.
I was coming to ask about the commitment to ensure that we don't have a repeat
violence will not be part of our election. But let me tell Mohammed to carry this to his party. Any government, previous government official that has been involved in any crime or criminal conduct, who is being sought for by the police and have not yet been arrested, Akwatia will be a window for mass arrest.
And who is being sought and the person is running away?
Well, Mohammed knows that a number of
you tell us. You just brought it up. So if you can tell us the names, so we can help you to find the person.
Some of them are MPs. Some of them are CEOs, including some of their boys they have used to commit crimes in the previous regimes. We haven't seen them. We are looking for all of them. Some of them have defrauded people. Some are in visa racketeering. If we see you in Akwatia and your victims can identify you, that is where you'll be arrested as a substitute for getting, the wrongs that they have done. We will not perpetrate violence in this election, but we will help the law to take its course. We will help justice to be given back to the people. We in the NDC are still living with scars. We are still living with pain. The NPP's procedure or strategy should not be threatening violence, particularly when it is the NPP that have lost their member of parliament for a by-election to happen. They are threatening violence in a community where both NDC and NPP have been living very peacefully for a very long time. It doesn't make sense to us.
All right, let me allow Haruna to come in as we bring this conversation to a close. And viewers, we've got exclusive comments from Kwabena Agyepong, who just an hour ago declared his intention to contest the flag bearership race of the NPP in January. We've got that exclusivity coming your way pretty soon. But let me allow Haruna the last words on this matter.
Thank you very much. I've heard my brother. He's talking about that they will not go to Akwatia with violence. I'm very happy they are realizing it, that they won't go there with violence. I want to assure them, if they go to Akwatia with violence, we will meet them with massive defensive force.
But is that what we need at this time?
Please, the Constitution allows defense. These people, when you are eating with them, you need to eat with a long spoon. There is that saying that if you are eating with a devil, you need to eat with a long spoon. Don't be sure of them. We are telling them, if they better take the decision not to go there with violence, good for all of us. But if they dare go there with violence, we'll go with a massive defense per the designs of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Again, he's talking about going there to arrest government officials who have they think that they have. I think that this is very absurd. They are in this country. If you know somebody fall foul of the law, you can go for the person. When you go for the person, send the person to court. Don't go to the public court of opinion. You hear the AG comes and stand and say, they have found this, they have found that. Every day they come and say, they have found this, they have found that. They have never gone to court. The AG has not filed a single case against any of them. You've arrested people, you send them to Iroko, you've allowed them to come out with sureties. Up to today, none of them has been sent to court. They should give us a break. We are not afraid of them. You cannot use that one to control them not to. They have the democratic right to go and campaign. They will be there. If you have to do that, you must do it with decorum. If you do it over us, my brother, we would not allow it to happen. We are telling you, you cannot use that one to intimidate anybody. In this country, we have reached the peak, and nobody, don't try what you did in Ablekumanor. Don't try it there.
All right.
If you try it there will be massive force of defense per the designs of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
We'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much, gentlemen. The Haruna Mohammed is a Deputy General Secretary of the Opposition New Patriotic Party. And of course, you also heard Mustafa Gbandi, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, who is also a Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, the Jubilee House. Now, remember also that today, we've heard a lot of people make pronouncements on their intention to contest on the ticket of the NPP in the 2028 election, but they can only do so if they are the choice of the electorates. And the party has set January to elect the flag bearer of the party for the 2028 elections. Now, some individuals have already declared their intentions to contest the flag bearership, and if they are successful, they will lead the NPP into the 2028 election. We know that Dr. Mohammed Bawku, the former flag bearer of the party, former vice president, has declared his intention. Kwabena Agyepong, former member of parliament for Asin Central, and has also declared his intention to contest the race of the NPP ahead of the 2028 election. Yao Osei Duchum, the former education minister, member of parliament for Bosumtwe in the Ashanti region, has also declared his intention. So is the current member of parliament for Abetifi and the former minister for food and agriculture, Dr. Kwabena Agyepong, also declared his intention to contest the the presidential slot of the NPP in January 2026. Now, just an hour ago, former General Secretary of the NPP, Kwabena Agyepong, also told Ghanaians his willingness to contest on the ticket of the NPP in the 2028 election. But first, we'll have to clear the hurdle, imposed upon him by the party in January. Now, he's been telling us why he's the most suitable for this position in the NPP.
Of the NPP, Kwabena Agyepong, has officially launched his campaign to contest for the flag bearer race in the new Patriotic Party, and it coincides with the opening of nominations of the party's presidential primaries, which also happened earlier today. We'll have him, thankfully. Engineer, if you could kindly join us on stage. You have contested this particular position a number of times. How confident are you that this time around the delegates are going to choose you?
Well, I think pretty much the party faces clear choices. It's either those who want more of the same, or we want a drastic departure from what we have been used to in recent times. And I think that the time is ripe for the party to usher in a new dawn, a new direction, a new dimension, be able to earn the confidence of our grassroots. We know that just taking a cursory glance at the election results, the fact that our votes moved from 6.7 to 4.6, and the NDC's just moved a little, about 200, it's quite clear that sympathizers of our party chose to punish us, and our first move is to try and win back our lost flock. The way to do so is to respond to what they want. To have a leadership that is sensitive to their plight, that engages them, that respects them. So that is very important. And I do believe myself, my public record in this party and this country is a demonstration of that kind of life, of service, sacrifice, and selflessness. So I will be able to engage them and let them see the reason why they have to come back and support the NPP. The NPP has been good for Ghana. It is because of the NPP that we have this Fourth Republic. I mean, we had to fight and drag the PNDC to be able to give us democracy. And sometimes we don't tout our democratic credentials enough. Some of our forebears lost their lives. They had to run into exile, giving something to the country. So we want a new politician, a new Ghanaian. We need a recalibration of our thinking. I think currently the country is being driven on a trajectory that I'm not comfortable with. There's too much materialism, and people think that money should rule rather than merit. I totally disagree. I do believe we need a critical mass of public-spirited individuals who are leading the country to inspire the youth, for people to know the very essence of public service is service to the public, not service to self.
Let me come in here. Speaking about money, just today, your party opened nominations, and they've set the amount, that's the filing fee, at 500,000 Ghana cedis, 100,000 Ghana cedis to pick the forms. It has generated a lot of reaction on Facebook. People are saying, is the NPP flag bearer position for sale?
You know why I'm laughing? Yes. Because I'm happy people are making those comments. So our party leaders, those who run the party now, will understand, some of us. In fact, if it hadn't been for my intervention at National Council I can't even give you the figure that some were speculating.
So it means that they proposed higher than 500,000?
Much higher. And some of us had to stand up and be counted and let them know that this party is not for sale. Now, what message are we sending to the Ghanaian people? That once we do that, we will lose the trust of our supporters and Ghanaians. And even then, we had to agree that we'll adjust it a bit, which is what we have done. I mean, the last time it was 50,000, so 100,000 is reasonable, because we want serious-minded people to go for the forms. I mean, it's a decent amount of money. So if you're not serious about your chances or what you want to do, you won't go and waste 100,000. And then when you go around and you're coming to file, I mean, you have to add another 500. There's a lot of money. We understand that. I mean, the last time it was 350,000, but there were some in our party, especially among the current executives, mentioning outrageous figures. I'm not going to out them here, but I stood up and really protested and suggested some of these things.
I mean, the 2024 elections, that was what I have seen since I've been in this world. That was like that's like a result that was so unexpected, looking at how competitive both the NPP and NDC are. You have just 87 seats in parliament. The NDC have a whopping 184. They have 2/3. Now, if you were given the nod, do you think that most of the seats that were lost by the NPP in the 2024 elections, you can help reclaim them back?
In fact, if you look at the elections, if you look at the data and the figures, it's quite clear. The NDC won so many seats because our people refused to vote.
But that's what elections are about.
No, not really. But the good thing about the election is that our supporters did not decamp. Otherwise, it would have reflected in the NDC vote. It didn't. In 2020, we had 6.7, they had 6.2. Now they moved to 6.4, if my memory serves me right, and we dropped to 4.6. So if we can put our best version of ourselves forward, and we can rejuvenate the base of our party, and they become enamored with us that we are a changed party, things are different, and our supporters come back to us. And I believe there are a lot of, I would say, borrowed seats that we can win. The two parties have reasonable strengths. I have always put the NDC nominally, even when they do badly, at 44. We should be doing 47, 48. So it's a close electoral field in Ghana. Right. I mean, what happened the last time is an aberration. That will not happen again. I don't think so. And so we are learning lessons from it. We know that our party people were disappointed with us, some of the things we may have done in government. I wasn't a part of the government, unfortunately, but I'm a part of the party. So I feel a sense of responsibility to the party. And I feel that if I'm given the nod, I'm the kind of person who has been a symbol of struggle in this political tradition. People know that since 1992, as a young 30-year-old like yourself, I was on national television doing the party political broadcast during military regime. It took a lot of sacrifice and courage. You understand? I have served as President Kufuor's press secretary when I was 39 years. So I was reasonably young, and for about 6 years. I've become general secretary, albeit short-lived in an unjustifiable removal. But those things are in the past. I'm built emotionally tough, and by the grace of the Lord Almighty, He's given me the confidence to remain true to the ideals. I'm a loyalist of this party. And so I'm very confident that once the party gives me the mandate, it will resonate well with the base of the party, especially those who feel sidelined, because I would say I'm a symbol of that. There's people who have been orchestrated out and sidelined. And if God has given me the energy to resurrect my career, and I know I'll go and meet them and energize them and speak to them, I'm very confident I'll be able to convince a lot of them.
My very last question to you. There have been concerns, and then I'll ask the question and I'll bring out the concerns. Are you in this to win it, or you are in it for something else? There have been concerns that you're not in it to win it. Perhaps you are in it
without disrespecting you.
Yes, like
even in 2000.
So if I may, if I may, so there are concerns that you want to be the vice presidential candidate. If in the event that you don't win, then you are considered for a vice presidential candidate slot.
For that, as for vice presidential candidates, it's at the discretion of the one who wins.
So you are into winning?
Hoping that I become the winner. It's going to be tough. I mean, I'm not making any bones out of this. Of course, my competitors, one has been vice president. He's been at the top for 16 years. So he has visibility and his name recognition. Unfortunately, I was out of the picture for 10 years. But the fact that the kind of support I'm getting from the base of the party, from those who suffered this tradition, they know I was one of the young guys that built this party with our hands. And mind you, I'm the only one who has been elected nationally as general secretary amongst the lot. So I have deep roots in this party. So yes, I'm going to fight from behind. There's no doubt about that. I don't make any bones about that. I'm going to work very hard. I am a taskmaster. I like difficult challenges, and I'm wired to fight hard. And I'm very confident that the party people, they believe in what I stand for. When I talk about the triple S doctrine of leadership, I mean service, sacrifice, and selflessness. Even when I was on suspension as general secretary, I supported the party materially, over 100 constituencies. I made contributions to them. In 2020, still on suspension, when the president beckoned me and called me to come and support his campaign, I did it. I left my job as the executive director of Ghana Institution of Engineering to come and support him. After all, when I won, he didn't honor me with any position, but that's fine. I mean, I'm a loyalist of this elephant. And so I want to set an example to the party that there is beauty and a sense of fulfillment in service, right, that we should not always expect something in return. The countries that have developed, their leaders sacrificed. You have to give something to society. Even if you don't get anything in return, there's a sense of happiness and fulfillment. So I'm determined to change the psyche of Ghanaians, to recalibrate our thinking, right, the very essence of what politics should be, service to the people, not service to self. Okay. And then that materialism that appears to have gripped Ghanaians, I want to be an example and a leader who drives that change. So I'm very profound about the transformation of our country. Okay. And that's what keeps me going.
Mr. Agyepong, thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. So that is former General Secretary of the NPP and also former Press Secretary to former President John Agyekumku for Kwabena Agyepong, was formally launched.
All right, so that's Kwabena Agyepong. He says he's the best man to lead the NPP in the 2028 general elections, the presidential, if you like. And so he is courting the faithfuls of the NPP to first elect him to lead the party in the January 2026 Congress of the party. And then if he's successful, he becomes the poster boy for the party ahead of the 2028 elections. Well, lots of this you're going to hear from now till January 2026. Already we have 4 individuals who have declared their intentions already. We have the former Vice President, Dr. Mohammed. There's also the former Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Ohene Agyepong. There's also the Member of Parliament for Abetifi in the Eastern Region, former Food and Agricultural Minister, Dr. Kwabena Agyepong, and of course the Member of Parliament for Bosomtwe in the Ashanti Region, former Minister for Education, Osei Adichum. So that will be 5 for now. The party says that if you want to pick nomination forms to contest the flag bearership race, you will have to raise 100,000 Ghana cedis. And then when you are presenting the forms to the party, you will add 500,000 Ghana cedis more, making it 600,000 Ghana cedis to be eligible, among others, to contest the flag bearership slot of the NPP. More to come on this particular matter. But when we take a shot, when we return, do you know that in the whole of the Bawku municipality, especially at the Presbyterian Hospital, there's only one daughter serving the entire municipality because specialists and other doctors, they've deserted posts because of the insecurity in Bawku. The military today deployed 400 more soldiers to help maintain peace in Bawku. When we return, we'll analyze these matters. Welcome back. This is the pulse here on Joy News. Now, away from politics, let's talk about security, and especially in Bawku and Narigu in the Northeast region. Remember, this morning we brought you the story of the military high command and the deployment of 400 additional military personnel to Bawku to maintain peace and order under the new government arrangement to bring some sanity to Bawku and its environs. And so they touched base today, and now it is the expectation that they've started work, and the time is 6 minutes after 4, meaning Bawku, Dalarigu and its environs are observing the 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. So you won't find any soul on the streets of Bawku except those who have been accredited to do so. So basically sleeping at 2 p.m. and waking up the next morning at 6 a.m. Now, that deployment took place this morning, but retired military officer and African Union security consultant, Colonel retired Festus Abuaje, has challenged the government's continued reliance on military deployment at Bawku, arguing that the situation on the ground cannot be considered peacekeeping. He has said that the protracted conflict exposes a deeper failure in the country's internal security strategy, one that the lack of arrest, prosecution, and a coherent communication plan is fueling impunity and further escalating the crisis.
I think that the shift or the transition from peacekeeping to peace enforcement is not applicable. But having said that, there are options other than shifting from peacekeeping to peace enforcement in quotes, which could have been explored. When this conflict escalated in late 2023, following the enskinment of the rival Bawku chief, especially in 2024, the government's response was to deploy a task force of 500. It's about 18 months hence. Has this size, this force strength, has it been sufficient? So one of the first things we want to look at is the size of the force. Can we, for instance, increase it by another 500 to 1,000, or 1,000 to 500, 1,000 to 1,500, or 2,000? Because this operation is about dominating the conflict area. And dominance, first and foremost, is through personnel, boots on the ground. Secondly, there have been occasions in the past when the military was using coupons, fuel coupons, to draw fuel to be paid for by the government, and the government was not paying. The fuel suppliers, who were not charities, withdrew the service. So we need again to enhance the logistics, provide the task force with more vehicle, more transport, including armored ones, give them more fuel. When we come to the geographical spread of the conflict, including the attack on the convoy, for there have been several instances of attacks on convoys, it will suggest that there is some deficit in intelligence. Because once it happened, the state didn't know. The state got to know after the fact. A Sherman, assuming that it is related to Bawku, was also after the fact. The Naregu SHS was after the fact. Bawku SHS was after the fact. So the other option is to enhance the intelligence resources, what technically we call ISR.
So retired Colonel Festus Abuaje spoke to my colleague Ivan Spencer on PM Express last night. Now, the effects of this, protracted chieftaincy crisis, if you like, now, as escalating violence in Bawku forces students' evacuations and disrupt academic calendar, former Deputy Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Kwabena Agyepong, is urging swift implementation of an education emergency contingency plan to address the crisis that final year students find themselves in.
Very volatile situation. Regardless of the battalions you have in place, you risk the lives of especially children and teachers. The incidents that happened, that caused the security team, including the MCE, as well as the Director of Education, to deploy the kids home, happened in the school that he now wants the kids to come into. So one of the key things is you also have to look at the psychological situation that you are bringing these students into. This is a place that untold violence have just happened with deaths of students. And you are telling them to come and sit in this environment, even with a battalion around them, they are going to be jittery. And that is why the recommendation from the Education in Emergency Plan, which was done cross-sectorial and multi-sectorial, is that deploy the students to places where there is that assurance that it is beyond the conflict zone. You have children's lives at risk. You cannot allow children to sit and write for exams under armed guards with the things in the back of their mind that there could be an attack. There could be an incident. So in volatile situations, I would plead with the leadership of the Ghana Education Service, with the leadership of the Ministry of Education, and with government itself, represented by the municipal director, the MCE, to look at what is in the best interest in terms of safety, security, and peace of mind of the students. And that is enshrined in that playbook, the Education in Emergency Contingency Plan. It doesn't cost anything to refer to that contingency plan and look at what can be done to ensure that the best thing happens for these students. Because the whole thing, you are deploying a child on Tuesday. Let's say one of those students live in Cape Coast. You've deployed them to Cape Coast. Then you are telling them that a week later, come to Bolgatanga.
I believe they're starting on Monday.
Yes. So in less than a week, come back to Bolgatanga.
And as Albert says, they haven't even completed the evacuation yet.
Exactly.
So it's like a 10% more to go.
Exactly.
So let's say tomorrow is Tuesday, complete it.
And then you're telling them latest by Sunday,
and they have to
should
travel
be back in Bolgatanga. Come and sit on a bus that you have arranged with military escorts.
All right, so let me take you to Bawku now for the very latest on this matter. Though this morning, the Military High Command made some deployment. And my colleague, Albert Sorry, is Upper East Regional Correspondent. So, Albert, the Military High Command, there's visibility of military personnel on the ground. Is that right?
Yes, Elton. I was at the barracks of the 11th Infantry Battalion here in Bolgatanga when the Chief of the Army Staff addressed the troops just before they deployed to Bawku this morning. And I got to see the soldiers for myself. The Chief of the Army Staff basically tried to boost their morale and to caution them to live beyond reproach as they go on this operation. What we got from the conversation that he had with the men was that there was already an existing operation over the last few months where they had been preparing for situations like what is happening in Bawku. And the men from the Southern Command were to join those in the Northern Command for this operation. The operation was supposed to start in August, and coincidentally, this incident in Bawku happened over the weekend. And so they are just taking the opportunity to basically practice everything that they had been training for as far as this operation is concerned. And so they are going to join the already existing troops in Bawku for this new operation to try and bring what is happening there under control.
Do you know the exact duties expected of them?
From the way he spoke, we got the impression that they didn't want to give too much away, especially on the media. And so I don't want to say he was speaking in coded language, but you got the sense that he didn't want to give too much away. He was speaking to the men because they both know the training that they had gone through for this operation. And so he kept referring to that and telling them that this is what they have been training for all this while. And so when they go, they should remember everything that they went through under the training for this operation. And so the real work that they are going to do was not revealed to us.
Albert, what about the police? Do we still have police visibility there?
Police visibility in Bawku has been there over the time that this conflict has taken place in Bawku. But for today, we haven't seen anything in terms of police deployment. This was strictly a Ghana Armed Forces deployment. There weren't any other security agencies involved as far as today's deployment is concerned. Everything that was happening today were just military people, and after this engagement with the chief of the army staff here in Bolgatanga, they then moved to Bawku shortly after that. And we actually got to see the opportunity. We got the opportunity to see them move. And if you see what they were trying to exhibit with the convoy was some sort of show of force, so it's just to also tell the public of their readiness to deal with this Bawku matter once and for all.
All right, Albert, thank you so much for this update from Bawku. Albert Sorry is our Upper East Regional Correspondent. Isaac Azunaba is the Honorable Municipal Chief Executive for Bawku, and he also joins us. Honorable, good afternoon again and welcome to the Pulse.
Yes, sir.
Great to have you again. So last night on PM Express, you announced that you were expecting additional military personnel, and it happened this morning, led by the Chief of Army Staff. And I'm guessing that gives you some comfort that indeed peace will continue to be maintained.
Yes, please.
But as representative of the president responsible for the citizens of Bawku, what is your own expectation of the military personnel? Knowing very well that there's been time past complaints about abuses here and there. What do you expect of them now that we have so much of them within your jurisdiction?
Yeah, that is true. But this time around, I know very well that the military command has given some briefing to the men on the ground. And since they were deployed here 2 days ago, you can see professionalism in handling the residents, citizens in Bawku. So I don't expect any professional conduct from the security apparatus.
And so now that they are in Bawku, are they in your care? Are you responsible for their upkeep, or this is done by central government?
The upkeep is generally done by central government.
Okay. The other issue that all of us are concerned about is the state of affairs in terms of final year senior high school students. Now, on the program yesterday, you heard the former Deputy Director General of the Ghana Education Service saying that there's actually a workbook to contain some of these emergencies. And he says that instead of providing security escorts for the students, why don't you go by the book which says that, for example, if you've got students in Tamale, they should be assigned to write the examination in a school closer than rather than bring all of them back to Bawku. Because of the psychological effect the presence of the security personnel may have on them in writing the exam. I don't know whether you are taking this into consideration.
Yeah, so you see, Bawku is complex, and if you don't know Bawku very well and the culture and the behavior of the people, you may not understand it. To me, in these students elsewhere to write exam may not be the best for them, because majority of these students are indigenous of Bawku, and as indigenous of Bawku, moving out, if you are in Bawku, you will know that it is now even more difficult and more, security-wise, it's not safe to move somewhere. So move students to somewhere else where, to write the exam where you are not sure of the security. I think that will maybe problematic. If you interact with the student or their parents, you get most of them prefer to write the exam here because they know the terrain of the town. They know what's out. In fact, let me add that after that isolated case, the case happened, the school, if you go to the school environment, you go to the community, things have been very peaceful.
Right.
And these security agencies, as I said, they are professional and they are going to monitor the situation there in that manner, in a higher professional manner. And therefore, I don't think any student will feel scared or have any fear to write this exam.
All right. Honorable Isaac Azunaba, MCE for Bawku, thank you so much. But talking about education, let's find out from the body that is responsible for the organization of examination in the country and indeed in West Africa. And John Kapi is the Public Relations Officer of the West African Examination Council. Also joining us is the Upper East Regional Director of Health, because we are also being told that, for example, in the Presbyterian Hospital at Bawku, there's only one doctor available attending to all cases because some have left their posts because of the insecurity situation in that area. What is the regional director doing about this? The Upper East Regional Director of Health joins us. But first, let me deal with Mr. John Kapi. Mr. Kapi, formally, have you been told of the situation in Bawku, and what steps are you taking to ensure that the final year students are not denied the opportunity to write the WASI?
Thanks very much for having me. So far, we have not been formally informed of the situation in Bawku. As we speak, whatever we've heard for now is on the media. Maybe by close of day today, we would have received some formal communication from the Ghana Education Service regarding exactly what they would expect us to do as far as the examinations are concerned. So as we speak, we are on standby, and whatever the Ghana Education Service says, we'll see how best we can work in tandem with them in order that everybody is able to write the examination successfully. So in the absence of a formal communication to you, I take it that next week when you start the examination, you will still deploy men to go to Bawku Secondary School and Narigo to conduct the examination? Well, as we speak, the briefing of the supervisors is ongoing across the country. I spoke with my colleague in Bolgatanga yesterday. He had not been given any different instruction from whatever has been given earlier. But then, like I said earlier, we would always depend on the Ghana Service to direct us as to what exactly they were supposed to do. Fortunately for us, we begin with practical examinations, and those ones can be reached as and when the need arises. So our prayer is that between now and the time that the formal examination opens, there will be formal communication so that all be on the same page to organize the examination so that everybody will be able to write the examination successfully. And if you are told, what will be the strategy? Well, for examinations and situations that arise, sometimes it is difficult for you to conclude that I'm done with all the preparations towards the examination. Situations may arise and overnight have to take a decision. So if there's any communication from the ministry or the Ghana Education Service regarding our candidates, Alengu and Bawku, that requires that we do something out of the ordinary. We should be in a position to do that. We don't disadvantage any of the candidates that have registered for the exams.
But there will be no preferential treatment for anybody, regardless of the circumstances that, pertains around his or her neighborhood.
Well, when you talk about preferential treatment, I think that the only thing that we can do, and in any case, whatever preferential treatment you can give to anybody will depend on the environment where they find themselves. If, for example, they are moving their candidates from Bawku to anywhere, from Bolga, anywhere, all that we need to do is to move the material not to that area and create the atmosphere for them to be able to write the exam. There wouldn't be any special, apart from creating a conducive atmosphere for them to write the exam.
All right. Well, let's leave here for now. Mr. John Kapi is head of public relations with the West African Examination Council. Now, the conflict appears to be affecting every aspect of social life, from education to health. And this morning, the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Richard Salome, told us that, for example, at the Bawku Presbyterian Hospital, and this hospital serves the entire Bawku municipality, there's only one doctor at post. Some specialists who worked at the hospital, they've left post because of the security situation there. And this is putting undue pressure on the only doctor available to attend to the hundreds, if not thousands, who go to the hospital for treatment. So what is the regional director doing about this crisis? Let me bring in the Upper East Regional Director of Health, Dr. Brima. Dr. Brima joins me. Dr. Brima, good afternoon and welcome to the poll. So this rather unfortunate picture that we are told, I don't know whether it has come to your attention, that, for example, at the Bawku Presbyterian Hospital, there's only one doctor at post. Hello, Dr. Brima? Hello, Dr. Brima? Right, let's see if we can get Dr. Brima's attention as we try to understand what the Health Directorate in the Upper East region is doing about this health situation because of the absence, because of the conflict in Bawku. Dr. Brima, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So the GMA tells us that only one doctor is available at the Presbyterian Hospital serving the Bawku municipality.
Yes. So yes. Yes. It's true. It's not just a recent occurrence. I think from the beginning of the year, the hospital has been having just the one doctor that they talk about. And if we even say one doctor, in fact, he is also double as the District Director of Health Service.
Right.
In fact, he's the District Director of Health Service who happens to be a doctor. And therefore, so he currently is now the only clinician taking care of the clinical services, managing the injured and those who are sick in that hospital. So it is true, it's only one doctor who doubles as the District Director and then the only doctor in that hospital for now.
So that means Dr. Brima, that means that the workload is even heavier. Now he's also combining administrative duties with plus attending to patients.
Exactly. And he's not the Bawku Presby Hospital. Those who know there is not serving only Bawku, because as we speak, the neighboring district, Timpane district, has no hospital. They rely on Bawku Presby Hospital. Garu district has no hospital. They rely on Bawku Hospital. Pusiga district has no hospital. They rely on Bawku Hospital. So this single doctor takes care of not only Bawku, but he takes care of 3 additional districts in addition to Bawku municipality, as well as being the District Director of Health Service.
The GMA says that the conflict is partly responsible for doctors vacating posts.
Yes, so the doctors left the place for some time now. In time past, the Bawku Presby Hospital even it was well endowed with doctors and nurses, even than the regional hospital in Bolgatanga. And it's a very sad situation that we have to come to this state. And almost all the doctors there who were mainly employed by the Christian Health Association of Ghana, all of them have left. So except the District Director of Health Service, who has to stay to take care of the place.
So, and what reason did they give for leaving Bawku, as far as the regional director is concerned?
Definitely some left for further education even before the escalation of the conflict, and some left due to security reasons. And mainly that is the reason why most of them have left.
And so if a patient requires specialist care, he wouldn't get it at the Bawku Presbyterian Hospital.
So what happens is, the Bolga Regional Hospital remains the referral hospital for the Presby Hospital in Bawku. So patients who need referrals, they have to be carried by the military to the Bolgatanga Regional Hospital, because for almost 2 years now, National Ambulance Service is not also serving that area, because ambulance was carrying the patient and then they were attacked. So at that time, they withdrew their services. So even referred patients have to be sent to the regional hospital by the military. But let me add that the Presby Hospital, being the public hospital as we speak, serves mainly the central core, the main core of Bawku town. And the peripheries of Bawku, there are 2 private hospitals. Let me add that there are 2 private hospitals that also serve people there. And these private hospitals, they have some doctors there. But as you know, due to the conflict, some people cannot cross to that side to receive services. And also, even the Presby Hospital, as you know, some people also in Bawku cannot also go there to receive service. So the services are actually segregated, but the private hospital certainly doesn't have the capacity like the Bawku Presby Hospital to manage certain type of cases. So both places, the private place and then the Presby Hospital, both sizes refer their cases to the regional hospital in Bawku.
Then clearly the conflict is impacting heavily on healthcare delivery, to the extent that ambulance service, they've withdrawn their services because they were attacked while transporting the patient. Hello, Dr. Brahma. Dr. Brahma, can you hear me? Right, we appear to have lost Dr. Brahma Baba Abubakar. He is the Upper East Regional Director of Health. And I mean, you've heard it. I mean, the situation doesn't look good. And we're hoping that finality is brought to this conflict so that life can return to normalcy in Bawku, in the Upper East region. Away from that, they should be in classrooms chasing dreams, but many children in mining communities are instead chasing specks of gold in toxic pits. The lure of free cash has dragged them into the deadly world of illegal mining, where mercury, lead, and arsenic poison, the air they breathe and the water they drink. And Anaya Jima has more in the latest feature titled Children in Pit, produced in partnership with Oak Africa.
The Wasa East District of the Western Region is among areas with substantial gold deposits in the country. Our journey into the district revealed illegal small-scale mining operations have taken over the main Ayamfore-Wase Kropon Road in the Western Region. At Wasa Esikuma near Ikropon, I met a group of teenagers aged between 12 and 14 years. They are 10 in number, but to ease their galamsey activities, they have divided themselves into 3 and sometimes 4. The 2 leaders are in year 2 of junior high school at the local basic school, and the others are in their first year at JHS, but most of them are still in primary school. Today, in the Galamsey Palance, is breaking day, a day small-scale miners in this community rest from their field activities. I met them in their washing bays close to their homes in Esikuma, where they washed the previous day's gold containing sand, which they call black. A conical-shaped wooden bowl is the main tool here, and with their hands, they wash the sand in water. After 2 minutes of continuous washing of the sand, the gold particles settle from the sand. Mercury, the heavy metal, is dropped in the bowl, resulting in the formation of gold amalgam, which they call balls. One of the two group leaders, who I choose to call David, explains their mode of operations.
Na omo ya dwuma na ndi omo pon ya kwesi amna nim ni atete ani ehuru ni enya bia na ya ba fia na ya diwe no med na to black ni na ya twi ewia na ya cheso ya yipe na ya chechire le koton amabaya no.
Junior, not his real name, is the leader of the other group, who has also succeeded in getting the gold amalgam.
Wait, minya 0.4.3. Bani abatama baya ni ajiska. 1.3 minya 3.6 ni achene 1.5 1.5.
Inti moko Monday to Saturday. Moko de bia.
Ejise ebnadangwana yango.
Inti moko bia de bia mutimi nya sa 3 million. Ana etiminya 4 million. Ni de bia.
Everyone's enye dem bia.
The mercury, which is used by the children, is stored in a small container which is originally used to package eye drop. They pass on the mercury to each other as and when needed. Both David and Junior pointed to their gold buyer, whose name they gave as Kwame, as a supplier of mercury. Though they have knowledge about the danger of this heavy metal, they are more concerned about the monetary gains.
Nti wini se mercury you see that chin ebetimi ama yare.
Achai.
Yare be no mo se ebetimi ama.
John dem nimu.
Na otin sen, otin mercury ho asem sen.
Dio miti anse echicha ni ka kire se. Eye adebi eye ade bone eni kwan se ye no rough anasi ye digu ensem ne kodidi a hwane anva nidi o se awure yanzanza ne didi.
Na ocha no yesa because they say we didi agro.
Sange ye kwa dwuma ana makofa da shim butum se nge kwa na ye twa black ni bia na ya dem atuma achi black nda ba fi.
Echicha na echira ye se ya ene anva sa mercury na angukọ kwa nzanya sa bia ye re fini e ko to dan man ye dia e be yare.
And still that's the year you mean.
According to Professor Paul Poku Sampene-Osei's research, it takes between 10 to 15 micrograms per deciliter of heavy metal ingestion into the human body to negatively affect organs. The exposure of these children to mercury could lead to its ingestion or inhalation.
I've told you that adults absorb those things 15 to 20% of what ingested this mercury or heavy metals. I won't say mercury alone, heavy metals. But the child, when he ingests, is absorbed. This level of absorption is 50%. So if you took maybe fufu, which has these heavy metals contaminating the components that made the water that was made used to make the fufu, the child will absorb 50%, assuming that is 100 that was there, he absorbing 50 out of the 100 into the system.
Parents of these children are aware of the dangerous ventures of their wards.
Papa atoku don bande musalamu ngwana mko.
Papa na toku do ma se papa yedwa. Na papa si bi.
Wa bia na site bo na fumu. Na awo Augustine chile won. Na otoku don man.
Nti o ko pasa eto na sen fana ya yo.
Aya wo no me ponsko ba kwan wa. Ma ande do na ade asandi ya haya na ni mu yako.
According to the children, they are regular at school since the owners of these mining sites only allow them in after school. Dr. Eugene Ansah is a researcher at the Sheath Laboratory at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Dr. Eugene Ansah fears for the future.
Ghanaians, we are sitting on time bombs, which if care is not taken, in some years to come, our generation will go into extinction, because we are dying gradually from acute exposure to these things. Today, I might not feel the effects, but with time, it will show off. So bioaccumulation is showing off gradually in most of us.
The Mercury Act 1989 guides against the trade or importation of mercury without the requisite licensing.
This feature story is sponsored by All Africa.
Well, before we go, a renewed call is being made for African government to implement the African Union Free Movement Protocol adopted in 2018. So far, only 4 countries have ratified the agreement, sparking growing concern among civil society organizations working on migration across the continent. In Ghana, the coalition of CSOs on migration in partnership with their continental counterpart is advocating for swift action to operationalize the protocol before 2027. There's more in this report.
Speaking to Joy News, the convener of the Ghana Coalition on Migration, Eric Pisa, underscored the importance of facilitating the free movement of persons as a catalyst for regional trade and economic growth.
That movement in Africa is even more than movement to Europe and then Americas. People travel within the African continent, African state, among ourselves, more than even going out. So therefore, if we are able to enhance this movement by ratifying this protocol and make sure it's enforced, it will make it easier for us to move around ourselves, trade among ourselves, and do business among ourselves, so that Africa will be also begin to start developing a little bit.
One of the participants at the forum expressed unhappiness over delays on the part of some member states, describing reasons such as insecurity as overstated and largely unjustified. He argued that migration has historically brought more benefits than harm and urged African leaders to take bold steps towards implementation.
Yes, security is a very great concern to every society. All right, and therefore it is something that every country needs to take it very seriously. But I must say that I am not too old, but since I was born, I've never heard Ghana attacking Benin or Benin attacking Cote d'Ivoire or Nigeria have an issue with South Africa, so we are sending missiles, or you have Ethiopia having issue with Egypt, so they are assigning their army to go and fight. Rather, we have been cooperating with our soldiers to go and keep peace in troubled areas, in difficult circumstances where the disaster and instabilities. We send our soldiers to rather go and come, bring situations under control. So security, I don't think, must ever be a reason for which we will not allow free movement to take place. Thank you.
Migration expert and lecturer at the University of Ghana, Professor Leander Kandilige, noted that there are many existing policy frameworks that support the protocol's implementation. He appealed to governments across the continent to act decisively and commit to ratifying and rolling out the protocol.
Well, that's our show for today. For more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. Whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope is profitable. My name is Elton Bob. Same time tomorrow, we shall be here to bring you another exciting edition of The Pulse. Good evening.